This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Monday, the 16th day of August in the year 2021. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. Longtime Belizean diplomat Dr. Carla Barnett has taken up her position as the first female Secretary General of the Caribbean Community CARICOM. This morning she took office following a virtual installation ceremony. Giving her first address as CARICOM Secretary General, Dr. Barnett thanked regional leaders for placing their confidence in her, and she said she plans to work hard to tackle the issues facing the community. Among those issues, she said, are the aftermath of the recent earthquake in Haiti and the COVID-19 pandemic and its impact on the region.
I take up this position today against the backdrop of a devastating earthquake in Haiti, the impact of which will be made worse by the rains associated with Tropical Depression Grace, which is already affecting the country. I reiterate the community's condolences with the government and people of Haiti and to the relatives of those who lost lives in this terrible disaster. I also wish a speedy and full recovery to those who were injured. Haiti can be assured that the community will do all it can to assist in this time of national crisis.
Dr. Barnett said she's taking up her role at a time when the community faces financial and other challenges that must be addressed.
The thrust to build resilience against the existential threat of climate change in all its dimensions and the urgency of constructing a recovery from the adverse effects of the COVID-19 pandemic demand our continued focused energy. Even as we address these critical tasks, we cannot afford to neglect youth unemployment, which has led the explosion of the jobless in the wake of COVID-19.
And according to the Secretary General, the community also needs to work to address the issues of economic blacklisting and the loss it poses to the community.
All of these affect the lives and livelihoods of each and everyone in our community. It is therefore incumbent on all of us to be engaged in finding solutions and taking action to overcome these obstacles in our path to a secure, viable, and ultimately sustainably prosperous community.
The new Secretary General acknowledged the contributions made by her predecessor, Ambassador Erwin LaRocque, in the integration of the community. And she said his contribution to the community cannot be underscored, since he served as Secretary General for 10 years and Deputy Secretary General for 6 years. Dr. Barnett, who is also an economist, also served as Deputy Secretary General for CARICOM between the years 1997 and 2002, under the chairmanship of Edwin Carrington. Chairman of CARICOM, Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda Gaston Brown, urged the new Secretary General to hit the ground running. The CARICOM chairman also praised the work of the outgoing Secretary General, Ambassador Erwin LaRocque. More news coming up in just a moment.
What's our purpose? Together we rise. For our community, our customer, and our country. Our promises: strengthen our community, reliably connect our customers, innovate for all in our country. Together we rise.
Get back to your life. Take your shot, take your shot, take your shot, get back to your life.
A message from Republic Bank.
We've got exciting news! All 12-ounce yellow cab Buster are now only $100. Buster, live in
Come
full
get
color.
your Buster, $100. Come get your Buster, $100. I'm in a rush. Digital got me in a rush. Driving style for the summer. Digital summer rush.
Nobody's doing it big like Digicel this summer. Top up with $1,000 or more and collect the letters to spell the word RUSH for a chance to win one of 3 brand new Toyota Rush SUVs. Yes, you heard it right. 3 brand new Toyota Rush SUVs.
Driving style for the summer. Hey, get yourself some Rush.
Start topping up now.
Mom, what are you doing with GPL on your list?
Child, you forgot I have to pay GPL?
You got time with GPL.
I have to keep these lights on. The customers who think in that manner and refuse to honor their obligation to GPL are obviously not playing their part in ensuring quality service delivery. So, I will continue to pay my GPL bill on time, every time.
I recognize the value of your point, Mom. You were right.
Let GBTI make your dreams of owning a home a reality. Buy or build your home with us. Let us help you to completely outfit your home and make it move-in ready. Need to purchase land? We finance that too. Benefit from our 10% down payment and interest rates as low as 4.25%. Calculated on the reducing balance with up to 30 years to repay. Switch your mortgage to us and learn about benefiting from the equity in your home. Invest wisely. Apply online or call your branch to schedule an appointment. GBTI, we see Guyana through your eyes.
Welcome back. A senior U.S. lawmaker and chairman of the Democratic Caucus, Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, has called for the removal of the U.S. ambassador to Guyana, Sarah Ann Lynch. Jeffries was at the time addressing a rally in New York, which was organized by the Guyanese Organization Against Racism. Several opposition members of parliament and regional representatives of the APNU-AFC attended the Brooklyn event, which was attended to by thousands of Guyanese in the New York area.
And it's not just me, it's my sister, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke. We stand together. The Congressional Black Caucus stands together, and we're going to make it clear that it's time for the Biden administration to act. And guess what? I got some ideas. And the first thing that I think the Biden administration needs to do is to get rid of the Trump-appointed ambassador to Guyana. It's time for you to go. Time's up.
Congressman Hakeem Jeffries. The U.S. ambassador to Guyana, Sarah Ann Lynch, took up her portfolio in Guyana in March 2019 under the APNU-AFC government. She was heavily criticized by supporters of the APNU-AFC in the aftermath of last year's elections. A number of diplomats were accused of being too involved in the electoral process. Congressman Jeffries said he has been following the developments in Guyana since the change of government here especially, and in his estimation some issues which have been on the forefront should have no place in a modern society.
So I wanted to make it clear that your family is my family. Your family is the Congressional Black Caucus's family. And we recognize that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And so we're going to deal with injustice down in Guyana. Because Black Lives Matter here in America, Black Lives Matter in Africa, Black Lives Matter and Black Lives Matter down in Guyana.
The U.S. Congressman also said the U.S. has a zero-tolerance approach for racially motivated intolerance and injustices.
And so we stand in solidarity with each and every one of you to deal with the situation down in Guyana and to make it clear to everyone in the world that we will not tolerate racism. We will not tolerate intolerance. We will not tolerate bigotry. We will not tolerate hatred. We will not tolerate xenophobia. We will not tolerate racially motivated violence. We will not tolerate discrimination. We will not tolerate injustice. and we will stand together until we end that situation in Guyana.
And to note the point of racial discrimination home, several APNU AFC officials who are Indo-Guyanese told the rally that from all appearances, the government of Guyana has waged war against the people who are of African descent, pointing to firings in the public sector and the doling out of contracts under the new PP civic administration. A number of opposition members of parliament will travel to other cities in the U.S. to meet with more Guyanese nationals and to apprise them of the situation back here in Guyana. Well, hours after that top U.S. congressman made his statements condemning what he calls intolerance and racially motivated issues in Guyana and promised to deal with those issues at the highest level, Guyana's Prime Minister, Brigadier Mark Phillips, has called for a meeting with the congressman. In a statement late last night, the Prime Minister's office said it has taken note of the remarks by Congressman Jeffries and find them to be appalling. The Prime Minister said that the government is disappointed that the congressman has allowed himself to be negatively influenced by individuals who are adamant in destroying the country by instigating violence and division among the people of Guyana, the statement said. The statement from the Prime Minister also called on the congressman to desist from joining with those persons in creating what he called chaos in the communities across Guyana. The statement from the government rejected the statements made by the APNU AFC representatives at the rally in New York. The Prime Minister said the government wishes to place on record that they reject all the statements delivered at the march and rally. According to the Prime Minister, the APNU AFC continues to propagate racial division and tension in the country and in the diaspora. The Prime Minister's statement said that the government continues to govern in the interest of all Guyanese, and that there is evidence to show that the government upholds democratic principles, adheres to equitable practices, embraces diversity and inclusivity, and promotes transparency at all levels. And still with that Guyana anti-racism protest held in New York yesterday, it appears as though the rally and protests have irked the Guyana government, with President Irfan Ali today rejecting the statements made at the rally about racism in Guyana and his government. In a statement issued by the President's office this afternoon, President Ali described the protests as deceitful and dishonest.
I think that it is very deceitful, dishonorable, and obstructionist that people would go to the extent that they went in telling lies that the COVID grant was not given to all the villages and all the people, that there's discrimination in the education grant that's being shared out.
The president said nothing at the rally will distract him from his work. He also stopped short of naming Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, who raised his own concerns about the situation in Guyana at the rally. But the president said he was surprised by the statements made.
And it's very concerning that you have persons who profess to have credibility enveloped in that type of behavior, calling on times up for the government, times up for an ambassador. Listen, well then it has to be times up for CARICOM, times up for the OS, times up for EU, times up for all the countries and all the international bodies, the Carter Center, that supported the efforts to have a democratic environment here in Guyana and defeated the efforts of those who try to rig an election and install themselves undemocratically in the country.
The president's statement today comes on the heels of a late Sunday night statement by the Prime Minister, who also rejected the statements made at the rally, as we told you earlier. Justice Gino Posad will now have to set a new date to hear the arguments regarding an application filed by the Attorney General Anil Nandlal, who contends that the Police Service Commission made a constitutional error by listing President Irfan Ali as a respondent to its legal challenge, after the Attorney General reported a medical emergency to the court. The matter was expected to come up today. On Friday, a senior legal advisor to the Attorney General informed the registrar of the court that the Attorney General has a personal medical emergency and will not be able to make his oral arguments, and requested the court set a new date to listen to the submissions. The request was granted. At the core of Mr. Nandlal's application is an argument that the Police Service Commission's inclusion of the President in its court case is irrational and illegal, since the President is immune to prosecution, and the decisions he makes while occupying the office of the President are not subject to court challenges. The Attorney General wants the court to declare that the joinder of the President Ali to the proceedings is contrary to and in contravention of the Constitution. But the lawyers of the Police Service Commission maintain that the president is a proper party to the proceedings and they intend to move ahead with him in the matter. The governments of Guyana and a number of local private sector bodies are currently taking part in the Offshore Technology Conference in Houston, Texas. The conference, which is held annually, brings together investment bodies and interest groups which collaborate to develop a technical program for energy professionals to exchange ideas and opinions and advance scientific and technical knowledge for offshore resources and environmental matters. In a release, Vice President Barra Jagdeo said Guyana's participation at the conference is necessary for local content development, as it provides opportunities for local businesses to network and seek partners in pursuit of emerging opportunities in Guyana. The release said participation would also help to attract more of the supply chain opportunities to Guyana, noting that education, connection, and networking are the major focal points of the mission. The Guyana delegation has also scheduled several events to showcase the country and attract opportunities to Guyana and its oil and gas sector. The contingent to Texas is led by Vice President Barra Jagdeo and comprised of Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Hugh Todd, Minister of Natural Resources Vikram Barrett, Minister within the Ministry of Public Works Deodat Indar, and the Chief Executive Officer of Go Invest Peter Ramsarup, along with representatives from AmCham, the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce, and the Private Sector Commission, along with several other companies. U.S. Ambassador to Guyana Sarah Ann Lynch is also attending the event. Let's tell you now that President Irfan Ali has expressed Guyana's solidarity and support to the people of Haiti in the wake of that devastating 7.2 magnitude earthquake which rocked the nation on Saturday. In a telephone conversation with the Prime Minister of Haiti, Dr. Ariel Henry, over the weekend, and the Chairman of CARICOM, Prime Minister Gaston Brown of Antigua, President Ali gave the assurance that the governments of Guyana will provide assistance to aid the relief and recovery efforts in Haiti. The president said Guyana's support will be part of a regional relief and recovery initiative that will be coordinated by the chairman of CARICOM. Assessments of the Saturday morning earthquake are still underway. The Haitian Prime Minister said a needs assessment report will be forwarded to CARICOM. Hundreds of persons were injured and killed in the earthquake. More than 2,000 persons are hospitalized. Tonight, the investigations are ongoing into the crash landing of that Roraima Airways Trilander aircraft over the weekend. The aircraft was forced to make an emergency landing near the Eccles dump site on Saturday morning, while on a final approach to the Eugene F. Correa Airport at Ogle. A worker at a close-by facility could be heard on a video recording of the incident, shouting that something appeared wrong with the plane, moments before the aircraft went down into the open grass field at the dump site. There were 5 persons on board, including the pilot and his co-pilot. There was no fatality, but all of the persons on board were air-dashed to the hospital by the Guyana Defense Forces helicopter. It is suspected that the aircraft encountered mechanical issues during the flight and might have lost 2 of the 3 engines before Captain Leary Barclay guided it towards the open field. At the scene, emergency crews, including the Guyana Fire Service, offered assistance. The plane appeared to have been ferrying cargo in addition to the passengers from an interior location to the city at the time of the accident. In a statement, Roraima Airways thanked the Guyana Defense Force for its rapid response with the dispatch of the Bell 412 helicopter to the accident site. The company also offered thanks to the police, the Sheriff Medical Ambulance Service, and the staff at the Georgetown Hospital for their efficient emergency response. According to the company, the cause of the incident is unknown. Now let's tell you that former chairman of the People's National Congress and Guyana's former High Commissioner to Trinidad and Tobago, Cami Ramsarup, has died at the age of 81. In a statement, the People's National Congress announced his passing earlier today and expressed the party's condolences to his wife and daughters and other family members. The party paid tribute to Mr. Ramsarup's work in public life for over 5 decades. He first served as Minister of Housing under the PNC government from 1969 and was later elevated to the position of Vice President and Minister of Trade between 1980 and 1984. According to the party, Mr. Ramsarup was elected chairman of the PNC at the 16th Biennial Delegates Congress in 2009. The party said it recognizes and records its appreciation for his spirited campaigning and valuable contribution to its political evolution and to national development in the early days of the Republic. He has been described as a devout Hindi literate Hindu and the patriotic Guyanese whose wide cultural, political, social, and religious influence and interests contributed greatly to the party's philosophy of social cohesion in Guyana.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
We've got exciting news! All 12-ounce yellow cab Buster are now only $100. Buster, live in
Come
full
get
color.
your Buster, Buster $100. Come get your Buster, Buster $100.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right, walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong, be the one to live right.
What's our purpose? Together we rise. For our community, our customer, and our country. Our promises: strengthen our community, reliably connect our customers, innovate for all in our country. Together we rise.
Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Across the region tonight, all tourism workers in Jamaica who interface with cruise ship passengers must be vaccinated. That's the word from the tourism minister in Jamaica, Edmund Bartlett, who has said that cruise lines will not be calling in Jamaica if all persons who intend to interface with their clients there are not vaccinated. Speaking at a ceremony in Montego Bay on Sunday to mark the 1 millionth stay-over visitor to Jamaica through the Sangster International Airport, Bartlett said that the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association would be taking the lead role in a private sector-led initiative to get all tourism workers vaccinated. The tourism minister is urging all categories of tourism workers, including drivers, craft vendors, and attraction staff, to get vaccinated as a condition of being certified as COVID compliant by the Tourism Product Development Company and the Jamaica Tourist Board. In Cuba, the public health minister said yesterday that efforts are on the way to restart the country's main oxygen factory, which had broken down even as a death toll from COVID-19 on Saturday reached 98, equal to the pandemic record. The health minister's appearance on the state's midday news broadcast came as a Delta-driven surge in coronavirus cases and deaths in Cuba swamped some provincial health centers. Daily cases are averaging between 8,000 and 9,000, and fatalities at nearly 1% of cases, low by international standards but high for Cuba, which last year had a death rate of 0.67%. As of Saturday, Cuba had reported 577,668 cases of COVID-19 and 4,023 deaths. The health crisis, on top of an economic one that saw the economy fall 10.9% last year and an additional 2% through June compared with the same period last year, has resulted in a scarcity of consumer goods and frayed nerves in the communist-run country. Last month, tens of thousands of people took to the streets in protest, which was the most serious unrest since the early days of the 1959 revolution. Residents and some medical staff in Cuba have taken to social media to complain of the treatment in a land that prides itself for the quality of its free health system. And finally tonight, international news. The Taliban has claimed victory in Afghanistan after taking over the capital Kabul, bringing to a swift end almost 20 years of a US-led coalition's presence in the country. Fighters have seized the presidential palace. The government has collapsed with President Ashraf Ghani fleeing. A spokesman for the group has told the news network Al Jazeera that the war is over. Kabul has descended into chaos and residents and foreign nationals have been trying to escape. At the capital's international airport, an eyewitness told the BBC that staff had abandoned their desk and people were running to planes. The US has moved all of its embassy staff to the airport. Over the weekend, the US military secured the perimeter of the airport and took over air traffic control to evacuate Americans and allied personnel from the country, the State Department said. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.